G'day, I'm Ben from Grok Learning. I'm a web developer, designer, and educator, and I'm part of the team bringing you Web.Comp 2018. Web.Comp is an international web design competition where we teach students HTML, CSS, web design, and creative communication. In Web.Comp, we offer two streams, beginners and intermediate. They both cover roughly the same content, but intermediate moves at a faster pace and has more in-depth questions. In this video, we'll look at some of the content from the beginner stream.
To begin with, let's have a look at the course. So it hasn't been released yet, but this is how it will look when the competition starts. Each week, starting February 26th, we'll release comprehensive notes and contextualized problems. Students learn as they go along. We don't expect them to have any prior experience, though in the intermediate stream, it is expected that they have done some HTML or CSS. There are 4 weeks of instruction where we introduce concepts like HTML and CSS to the students. Then they complete problems and get a rank on the leaderboard. In the 5th week, we run a web design tournament where students design their own website and they can go head-to-head against other students' designs. So let's have a look at week 1, part 2, adding color to your web page. So this is the Grok Learning interface. You can see that this slide is about using the strong tag, which is an element that can be used to make things appear stronger in the document, which is usually bold. Let's jump to the end of this week, where we introduce different types of colors. Here we talk about warm and cool colors, and we'll just jump through the notes a bit and get up to a problem. So you can see here we have notes on choosing colors. And then here is a problem about colors. So it's saying here, ready to put everything together? So this is a problem at the end of the week where students will cover a bunch of different content that they've learned throughout the week. You can see that we also provide teacher's notes. So I'm just going to jump to this part. So this tab has teacher's notes that includes solutions. You can see here a sample solution to this problem. And that way you can stay ahead of your students. If students get stuck, they can also ask for help in our forum. We'll have that open for tutoring while the competition is running. There will be other students in the forum who can answer questions. There'll be teachers in the forum who can answer questions, and the Grok Learning staff will be monitoring the forum and answering questions as well. So let's have a look at this problem. So this problem is asking us to add a style element to the page. So we'll just put that up the top. At this point, students haven't learned about linked CSS style sheets. They will a bit later, but for now, we're just going to start with a style element. So the first thing it says is to make the H1, H2, and paragraph elements 540 px wide. So let's try that out. We're going to take the H1, the H2, and any paragraph elements, and we're going to make them 540 px wide. So we need to set the width to 540 px. Okay, now as students are working, they can also open up this preview down here and we can see the results of the CSS. So without this width 540 px, it went all the way to the end of the page, and with the width 540 px, it's cut off at 540 and it starts wrapping. So the next step is that the EM elements, the H2 elements, and the H3 elements are set to a color of RGB 0, 188, 171, and you can see we've got a little box of what that color is. Now, as you can see, this is starting to look a bit like the final result here on the left. And as students add more style, they'll get a bit closer to this final result. We're just going to continue and add a few more styles. I'm just going to make the H1 center aligned. So text-align center. And it says to make the font size 104 px. So font size 104 px. Okay, it's looking a lot more like this design on the left. You can see that some of these instructions are assuming that students have read the notes and understand which CSS attributes are useful here, but it is quite explicit about what we expect. Once we've finished the design, or we think we're finished, students are able to mark and they'll receive instant feedback from our auto marker. Then when it finishes marking, students get feedback. Now you'll see at the top, it said not yet, your submission failed a test. So there are a number of tests within this question. First, it checks there's a doc type. Then it checks that there's a style tag. It'll check that there's no text changed, and then it'll start checking our styling. So in the notes, it says that the H1 element should have a line height of 1, but we haven't set the line height of the H1 element to 1. So we can go into the code again, take the H1, and we'll set line height to be 1.0, and we'll mark that again. So now you can see that I've passed that test, that there's a new test, that the H1 heading element should have a color set to RGB 40, 70, 110. And this is also stated in the question. Now, your students can take this feedback, put it into their code, and when they get to the finish, they'll mark and get everything right. So I'm just going to finish up doing what it says in the question here. So we can see now this is looking very similar to the sample. Now we can click mark and submit, and we're done. We got everything right. So that's an example of what you can expect from Web.Comp 2018. If you have any questions, you can email support@groklearning.com and one of our team will respond to you. We'll also have some more information on our website and on our social media. There's a link to our website in the description of this video. Cheers.